artificial intelligence is changing the way we live and work. And you, as a web dev, you want to be a part of that revolution, but let's be real. Most AI videos on YouTube are microwave content that teaches you almost next to nothing. So are you ready for a video that will actually show you how to build AI applications? At the end of this video, you will have knowledge to deploy a viral application. Hosting AI models and calling APIs is a critical part of AI development. These models are like superheroes, performing tasks like image recognition, natural language processing, or even predictive analytics. And APIs, on the other hand, are your trusty sidekicks, helping devs integrate AI into their application. Today, we'll be diving into the relationship between API models, serverless architecture, and long-running server. Even more importantly, we'll look how these services work on Next.js and Fly.io so that you can build an AI application that is both powerful and scalable. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn how these applications are built like a pro. But first, you will want to subscribe just because this topic is so awesome. When integrating artificial intelligence inside your application, there will be two main options: long-running server and serverless architectures. So when should you use one or the other? Long-running servers are best suited for applications that require a dedicated environment and consistent performance. For example, if you're building a high-traffic AI application that requires a lot of computing power and memory, a long-running server is the way to go. These servers provide a stable environment and can handle large amount of traffic for things like data processing. On the other hand, serverless architectures are ideal for integrating with the UI and business logic of your AI-backed application. For example, if you're building an AI chatbot that needs to process user inputs and trigger events, a serverless architecture would be the way to go. These architectures allow you to run code on demand, only paying for what you use, making this a cost-effective solution for integrating with your UI and application logic. To showcase both of these architectures in action, we will build a Q&A, a question and answer application, where users can ask questions and have them answered dynamically with AI. However, we will make sure to not answer offensive questions to keep our Q&A family-friendly. This is a pretty good use case where you would have both a long-running server and serverless models. First, let's work on verifying if the text is offensive. We will be using a model from the TensorFlow library. Our setup will be simple. We'll have an Express.js application that we will package into a Docker container and then host it on Fly.io. I won't go over the full setup, but you can find a link to the repo in the description. The reason why we care about having this inside a long-running server is that loading the model is slow. It takes at least 30 seconds. This is not usable in a serverless function. So instead, we just have to load the model when the server starts of our Express long-running application. Deploying this will also be a breeze. Opening our Docker file here just reveals simple instructions to install the dependencies, copy over the app files, and running npm start. On the JavaScript side, we have a super simple Express application that loads the model and starts the server. The app has a single route that will funnel the text we want to analyze to the model and return an analysis of that text in JSON, verifying what is offensive or not. We'll deploy this via the Fly.io CLI using the launch command. We'll be asked a few questions. We don't really care much about them other than the location of the deployment. This is because we want to pick a region that is close to the user so that we don't have to make too long of a road trip when fetching the data. But don't worry too much, as you can simply change this later. This should take normally 2 or 3 minutes to deploy and load the model, and our API should be live. Perfect. Now let's move on to the rest of our application. For something more difficult in AI like answering questions, individual developers will probably revert to using a third-party API like ChatGPT or GPT-3 because this is beyond your skill level or even budget of an indie developer to work on this. So the best way to integrate multiple APIs together, like the ones from OpenAI, is by using a UI framework like Next.js, which has serverless function capacities. These are perfect for coordinating calls to different sources, which will be the case in most AI-enabled apps. In our Next.js project, we'll create one of these functions by adding a file under pages/API. In this file, we'll export a function handler, in which we'll pass the text first to our hosted model on Fly.io. If we don't detect any harm in the question, we'll pass it to the OpenAI API and ask for a completion. You can see my full video using their APIs now on screen. Our function will then be answered back to the UI, and the answer to the user's question will be done. So there you have it. Within a few couple of minutes, we've learned how to deploy a custom model on a long-running server. We've learned also that difficult tasks are better left to third-party APIs like OpenAI, and using a serverless environment is useful for cleaning and orchestrating all of your data calls. I hope this was useful as an introduction to AI application architecture. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and I hope that you like this video. Thank you so much.